Alright, let's go talk to some redheads. After we talk to Van Zeeks for a bit, because we found out everything he's told us is 100% true. And they should let him off the hook immediately. Problem is we need the actual killer. Hi, Gina! Hi, Sholmes! Most likely. Sholmes, I thought you figured everything out. Deliberate omission? Yeah, good old Dr. Scythe. Yes, a weekly £4 income. Good job, Gina, you took him in! No. Yeah, why was Van Zeeks investigating Greggy? Why does Cosmo want the Red-Headed League on the stand? Any words of wisdom for us, Sholmes? Yeah, what's Cosmo's goal? Yeah, I agree. It's already been almost an hour and a half. Whoo boy. Ah, Barrick, what are you doing on the stand? I thought we'd be getting some redheads in here. Back in session. Where are the redheads? Come on, bring them out. Who let you bring your spaghetti in here, young man? Extortion! Fabian de Rosal. Peppino de Rossi. Another Italian? Boarding school for European nobility? Where's Daily Vigil? He has the grand ideals, but the petty plans. Hilarious brothers. Capo. I have two things to say to you. So we've got a Frenchman and an Italian. Your tease for your red hair. These two got bullied. Uh-huh. Flame-colored hair. Application fee of 5 shillings. You're gonna retreat to France. Day before the victim was discovered. Look at this photograph. I'm expecting both of their names to translate to, like, of red hair or something. Cry. Because Gregson's dead. It's not in the park. Wee wee. This court has little confidence in your assurances. Wee wee. Words an entry in the inspector's private diary the day before the incident. It's Lime Street Red-Headed League undercover. Huh. But why did the Red-Headed League want Gregson dead? Don't care.
Hold it!
You are the people who try to trick other people. Do you remember anyone eating fish and chips?
Hold it!
Some other information. He had fish and chips! Do not remember him. Shown that photograph. One other detail about the victim. His fish and chips! Certainly appreciate that just knowing the man with red hair wouldn't remember you. What if I told you that the man was always munching on a packet of fish and chips? Remember a man who was eating incessantly? Not really. It's like looking at the heads of the applicants. Damn it! Yeah, I thought for sure it would have been the fish and chips. Alright, what other information do we want to give him? He was a policeman. Hey, it does change something! Tell me, Mr. Red Hair of Italy. Mr. De Rossi. Parmesan, olive oil, pepper. Isn't this the same song that played in an earlier case? Yeah, the fish and chips changes nothing, but the detective part is important. Excuse you there, French boy. Inspector from Scotland Yard! We've got him! Oh, it's the same song as Master Gotts. I thought it might have been the same tune that Ringo and Nash had. It was at the park said to us he was an inspector. There, Rochelle, why are you trying to hide that Gregson was there? When it's time to eat to the past, the no one is faster.
Objection!
Ooh, we got the double slam! The damage is done. Indeed it is, sir. Please, there was a man who came to the park. He said he was an inspector from Scotland Yard. However, he looked nothing like the man in the photograph. He was someone else. Because, to start with, his face was completely different. See, it's true, it's true. The man who came to us was young. His face was clean shaven. His eyes were sadder. His chin was thinner. No resemblance whatsoever then. Anyway, I was not going to be fooled. I took the obvious precaution and said to him, "If you are really detective, show us the proof." See, the capo here, he doesn't take no nonsense, eh? But he was well prepared. He said he had identification. Identification? An official police inspector's identification? It's most unconvincing. Sorry, my lord? Counsel, no incognito inspector would offer his identification for inspection. It's quite out of the question. Definitely, why would he expose his true identity? Clearly, the papers were fake. Setro Capo, you're a genius. As we say in Italia, it takes a thief to recognize another, eh? What happened after he announced he was a detective? It became very annoying. He said, "You are under investigation." So I took his papers from him and chased him out of the park. It was fantastico. Look, it is the identification. You stole it from the man. He had it coming. He made me very scared. He was not who he said he was. Hosonaga? No! No! It wouldn't be! Please give me the ID papers. Don't tell me. Oh no, that is his book, isn't it? Oh no! I forgot about Hosonaga! Well, I suppose we should see what this inspector's identification looks like. Huh. I can't read any of this. 997? That's Gina's badge number! Tobias Gregson? Yeah, at least it's not Hosonaga. Hector Gregson's police identification. No one wants to point out that this is Gina's badge? Oh? Okay. What does this mean? Only have your word for it. Didn't mean to click that. You're not victims! What do you mean it's his fault we got captured? Bought him for the wrong day. The 1st, the 31st. Day late for the boat. The great red-headed detective. Holy punishment! This is wholly your fault. Does eat a mean pasta. Got it. Keep pressing.
Hold it!
Addresses. $5,000 Holy cow.
Hold it!
Let's tell him his name. They should react to his name now that we've seen the thing. Yes, Monsieur Gregson. Did I not press this fourth statement?
Hold it!
Oh, I did push this. No, I right-clicked! You should have gone back! Let's save the game before I do something I'm going to regret.
Objection!
There we go. I wonder if I could ask you to examine this identification book very closely. Miss Lestrade? Why, Miss Lestrade? What's your intention here, Counsel? This really is fake, or is it genuine? That's the question, which we can't answer
Objection.
ourselves. Don't be ridiculous. No Scotland Yard detective would allow his or her identification to be stolen. That is the boss's! No question about it! It can't be! As I suspected, the undercover detective who attended the Red-Headed League's enrollment on the day in question was the real Inspector Gregson, carrying out an Well, that's one option. The other option is that he was already dead, and someone stole his identification off his corpse. Order, order! But the boss has identification stolen. He would have reported it straight away. I mean, he was always on me about it. If you lose something, report it at once, he'd say. Could it be, then, that the inspector was physically unable to report it? Physically? What are you saying? Unable to? You're not suggesting. Yes, it's quite possible he was killed before he had a chance to report his identification stolen. No! Order, order, order! Fence posits that the victim was killed the day before his body was discovered at a different location. You two have anything to say about that? I know nothing. I done nothing. Pull yourself together, Peppy. Mon Dieu, you can behave a little more like a master criminal than that, no? No, I wish I had the return to Italia. Stop crying, Peppino, please. Otherwise, I... Lily, stop your whining and start talking. Leave the court only to hear your story and consider the... I know nothing, I've done nothing. You will tell everything, or face the worst possible outcome. You will dry your eyes and testify again. About these identification papers and the precise circumstances under which you came by them. For crying out loud. Haha. Good one, Ryunosuke. Detective in the identification. See, the truth is, we took him prisoner and kept him for the night at our secret hideout. Even though I didn't think he was a real detective, I was too scared to let him go that day, just in case. Took the man's identification from him and shot him in the room next to ours. There might have been a little tussle, but we did him no harm, and the next morning we let him go. He spent the night at a nice room. It was nothing like a prison, really. You guys kidnapped Gregson? This is outrageous! You imprisoned the man? But no, see, no. It was not a prison like a prison. He was very comfortable and calm and happy. Aye, Capo? It was never part of my plan, I swear it. Oof, so you think it was my fault, eh? Just because I got the date of the fair wrong. Just one little a day. I do not think it was your fault, Peppino. I know it. No. Por favor, Capo. It is not fair. I shall have plenty of time for squabbling back at the prison, gentlemen. Oof, I don't believe this. How could he have been a real detective? So for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination. The day before the incident, Gregson spent the night confined in this pair's hideout. Where is your hideout, if I might ask?
Hold it!
First crime for the capo. Let's talk about the hideout. House behind the park on Lime Street. Impulsive idea. Inspired. But was it actually Gregson? Thought he was a pretender.
Hold it!
Okay. Yeah, you guys were the ones up to no good. Address that startled you. Scotland Yard Homicide Division. Gregson, you live at the yard? I still don't think it was actually Gregson. Huh. The Hilarious Brothers.
Hold it!
Let's talk about this tussle. Skip through the ventilator. Okay, they didn't shoot.
Audio.
Excuse me.
Yes, short one. Mr. Italy. Was he a good hunter? Tried to run. Bruises, you say? Gossip! You do now! So Gossip stole Gregson's papers? So why was Gossip pretending to be Gregson? Very important! But we don't have any evidence to show about that. I don't think I can present people. The collar.
Hold it!
Collar. A big leather collar. Saint Bernard. Strong chain. Treat the people as equal. But wait, do we have Gregson's neck in the picture? We do! He doesn't have a mark! It wasn't Greggy!
Objection!
I didn't know, Gregson! It's hardly a person, it's an invitation to stay. It was only. However you describe it, there's one glaring inconsistency that remains. What inconsistency is this, Counsel? Well, I ask the court to look closely at this photograph of the victim, Inspector Gregson. You'll see that there is no red ring visible around his neck. But that makes no sense. It was me who took the collar off the man in the morning. I saw the red bruise on his neck, just like I have. Given the mark is still clearly visible on this witness's neck, I expect to see bruising on the victim, who has put in the collar more recently than Mr. De Rossi. Indeed. That is most peculiar. But we tell you, huh? We said this from the beginning, many times. Peppino's right, the man in the photograph is someone different from the man we held captives at night. I like to call gossip to the stand. Order. It would appear then that on the day before the incident, the man who visited the park on Lime Street posing as an incognito inspector was not Inspector Gregson at all. That's true, however. How do you explain the inspector's identification? It's a genuine identification issued by Scotland Yard. It's inconceivable someone could have stolen such an important item from the inspector. Prosecution made that assertion itself! Ha ha! Also, the inspector had made a note about the red-haired league in his diary for that day. It surely means we can't divorce the two events completely. The inconsistency noted by the defense is most troubling. Or the real Inspector Gregson, whom these two red-haired gentlemen encountered. The fact that no bruising around his neck defies explanation. Equally, if they actually encountered an imposter, how did that person come to be in possession of the real inspector's identification? Why don't we ask them? Let's have some plausible explanation, Counsel? Polling defies explanation. These are precisely these occasions that we keep meticulous notes in the court record. Because those are the facts. The facts cannot lie. No, facts can't lie, even when they point to something so incredible it's almost unbelievable. Oh, my lord, the true identity of the person who turned up in the park for the Red-Haired League's enrollment is revealed by information in the court record, I believe. Good gracious, the court record? We have one of those? Very tantalizing, Mr. Naruto. Why don't you help us all to see whatever truth it is you apparently see? Who exactly is this inspector that appeared before these people? An imposter! Among Us! That seems incredible. I admit, the undeniable facts point to only one thing. Since no bruising can be seen on the victim's neck, the person these two red-headed men took prisoner that day cannot have been Inspector Gregson. In other words, your whole argument up to now has been a waste of time.
Objection!
On the contrary, I have finished. What? There's no bruising on the victim's neck, so the question immediately posed next is, who exactly was this man in the park on Lime Street found to be carrying Inspector Gregson's identification? See, that's right! We tell the same story every time. Whoever this man was, the capo dragged from the pillar to a post with a dog collar. Mon Dieu, Peppino, there's ours to say, huh? Yeah, we know who he is. Clearly, the defense has an idea about that. But the true identity of the man these two imprisoned that night. Must ask the counsel for the defense to elaborate post-haste. Who did the witnesses encounter in the park? We don't know his full name, but he's got a stiff lower lip.
Take that!
And his name is Gossip. One of the witnesses who was in the stand in this very courtroom earlier today. A nameless man whose only occupation appears to be peddling heresy to passers-by. What on earth would a street peddler be doing with the police inspector's identification papers? Witnesses, is this the man or not? What has happened to his lip? See, this man is not from the Red-Headed League, eh? He is looking for the Twisted League, no? Perhaps rather than making such rash claims next time, you should bite your lip instead. Seems improbable, yes. One undeniable fact remains. During his testimony earlier, I noted something around the man's neck. A red ring of bruising. What? The defense demands that Mr. Gossip be brought back to the stand. Punch him in his gobbler. Order. Bailiff, bring the aforementioned witness back to the stand. Oh, that's true. Maybe he is Vigil. Well, I never. An undeniable ring of bruising indeed. And identical. Always had this with me. It's a birthmark. A birthmark, you say? I assume the reason you've been called to the stand has been explained to you. Somewhat about the inspector again. I'm telling you, you've got it all wrong as usual. You're denying all knowledge of it? Of course I am. Are you trying to kill me with all this nonsense, eh? At least you'll have more stories to peddle back on Fresno Street, won't you? Let's look at the picture of this guy. The eyebrows. The nose. Now we look at the witness. The eyebrows appear to be similar, but the nose is completely different. Maybe it's not him. I'm going to need you to testify again. And you, Mr. Deriso and Mr. Rosie. I'm sure you'll cooperate, won't you? Well, actually, hold on. How long ago was this picture taken? If we knew how old the photograph was, we might be able to do stuff. But unfortunately, we don't have a date on it. The inspector and the identification revisited. The man who claimed to be the inspector that day was definitely not this man. It's right, see? Think we would forget those grand leaps, huh? I never leave Fresno Street, alright? I've no interest in any red-haired league. I'm all alone in the world, no kinfolk or nothing. Why would I be involved in something like that? Just look at me, eh? Does it look like I can carry off a disguise with a face like this? Certainly appear that we have the wrong man. What have I been telling you? There was no need for this pointless testimony. That's right, I'm just a simple peddler, remember? Fresno Street's all I know. How would I ever come by a police inspector's identification book, eh? Chances he was allergic to the collar. I don't know. A brief cross-examination, I think, counsel. Very brief. Ugh. Isn't there anyone in this courtroom who thinks I might be onto something? Thank you, Susato. Wait, can we do a summation examination against the judge? Is that a thing? It shouldn't be, but... Yes, my wife.
Hold it!
What about the 4 pounds a week? So tasty tidbit. You got Beppo to cop up? Poor Beppo.
Is that so? Excuse me!
What are the odds we'd find something to pursue on the first press? Did Mr. Gossip's words just now lead you to remember something relevant? It was the other day when I was looking for a place near the park, a small house or something. With the headquarters of your red-headed league, yes. Visited an housing agent on Lime Street, and there I saw him. This man was paying money to the agent. Mr. Gossip? With a housing agent? Oui, he had some kind of contract in his hand, and they were clearly discussing terms. Oh, no, you're mistaken, chum. Neville of Fresno Street, me, like I said before, mistaken me for someone else, someone with the same face. No, the capo's right, I remember it too. He was paying the man with the bank notes. Notes? Like I said, that was me. It's curious why this man with the dirty clothes had so much money. So I looked at the name on the papers. What name was written? Mr. Gossip? No, this man, he lies. He tells you that he has no name. But in fact, his name is Hugh Boone! Hugh Boone! We found him! Peddler of tidbits of information, like I said, on Fresno Street, and that's that. I don't much like folks talking about my personal life. Hugh Boone! Not the intention of the court to invade the privacy of the witness. Very well. Shall respect your wishes, sir. Aforementioned name shall be redacted from all court records of this trial, assuming no objections.
Objection!
Why couldn't we both have objected there? Sorry, my lord, but the defense does object. Because the name just mentioned has very deep significance to this case. Good gracious, do you similarly object, Prosecutor Asogi? As it happens, my lord, that particular name has already been mentioned during today's proceedings. Well, I never. In what capacity? Hugh Boone. The name of the leaseholder of that room. Let me put this very simply. The victim's body was discovered in your rented room. I suggest, sir, that you start talking. Well, alright. I suppose that might be the case, God damn it, Hugh Boone. He's old. You can't expect his memory to be perfect. Just between us, I don't like to blow my own trumpet, but there's no finer peddler of tidbits in town. I happen to be able to afford a grubby little room in a falling down backstreets townhouse. 2? Once every 6 months, I go and pay the rent to the agent on Lime Street. Hi, I remember it now. There were 2 vulgar redheads in there last time. Hi, if either of us is a vulgar, it is not me. Sing again, Pepino. Why didn't you bring this up before? Like I told you already. I don't like talking about my personal life. Tidbit peddler as far as everyone else is concerned. No fuss. I'll update your testimony to include this most surprising revelation, Mr. Boone. If I'm Wait! Oh, so he is! He's got 3 stupid names and he actually is Vigil? I'm about to do something very questionable that could also be 100% correct.
Objection!
We found you, Daly! You have no kinfolk, as you put it. Explain why it's among the sparse furnishings we found this photograph in the room. I presume, as you've been renting the room, that this photograph belongs to you. Oh, well... Mr. Boone, drop the pretense and tell the court exactly who you really are. I don't know what you mean. I'm a peddler. I keep telling you so. You don't need to bother with me. Please, just leave it alone. As the man says, leave it alone. Whatever the truth is about this man's life, it has no bearing on this case. Because it's simply not possible he impersonated Inspector Branson. How can you be so sure? Just look at the man. No amount of disguise could ever hide those unmissable features. But what if we were to look at this the other way around? What do you mean? Yes, counsel, what do you mean? Well, there's no denying Mr. Boone's lip is very prominent indeed. But consider the possibility this prominent lip itself is part of an elaborate disguise. Hiding that prominent feature, in other words, revealing his true face, would make an utterly impenetrable disguise. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Hugh Boone? Arg! I can't believe he's hiding as a peddler to avoid his wife! It's just because of the little hair curls! That's all! That's all I called! It does feel amazing. His true identity must be... Yes, that's right. There's really only one person he could really be. My lord, defense believes it can reveal Mr. Boone's true identity to the court. No, please, no! Very well then, counsel. What is the true identity of this peddler who goes by the name of Gossip? Daily Vigil. Wait, hold on. How old is his wife? Okay, 4-year difference. That's fine.
Take that!
Your real name is actually Mr. Vigil, isn't it? Mr. Daily Vigil. Yarg! To recall that name, counsel. Who is Mr. Vigil? Same I encountered yesterday, my lord. Has to do with a certain client of Mr. Herlock Sholmes. A young gentlewoman came to the detective asking him to locate her missing husband. Oh, in this photograph, in fact. This is Mrs. Vigil. What? From what I understand, you haven't returned home since the night before the inspector was found dead. Of course, on that night, you were being held captive by the 2 red-headed League men. And last night, you were put up by the prosecution. Prosecution serves in preparation for testifying in this trial, because we've been led to believe you, Miss Venus, and Mr. Sandwich were all homeless. Being important witnesses in this case, we need to know whether we could find you, of course. That explains why you've not only been unable to return home, but also unable to contact your wife, who's been beside herself with worry waiting for you at the Vigil residence. Now, you just hold on a minute. I don't have the first idea. What I'm talking about? Really? Simple enough matter to confirm my suspicion. All you have to do is pull off that disguise. Or do a fingerprinting test. Bailiff, bring soap, a sponge, and a wash bowl at once. We're giving the suspect a bath. You 2 restrain the witness. Yes! Wag! No, stop! Get off, please! Don't! Why is he trying so hard to hide from his wife? Hi! I mean, he had to be relevant to the case somehow, right? Well, we are now seeing your true features, I presume. Wow, he even has a fancy coat he has. Lift your head, sir, so the court can see your face. It would appear that the defense counsel's assertion was entirely correct. It's all been a very elaborate deception. So, witness, tell the court. Have you seen this man before? I don't believe it, but... See! There's no question. This is the inspector we saw at the park. Extraordinary. On the day of the Red-Headed League's enrollment, this man claiming to be Inspector Gregson who appeared before these 2 in the park was you, disguised as the inspector. Or rather, was you posing as the inspector in no disguise at all. Mr. Vigil was formerly employed as the chief warder at Barclay Prison. The chief warder? Then your career had promise. Why you would quite possibly become the future governor of the prison? What on earth have you been doing peddling tittle-tattle on Fresno Street? Well, it's been 10 years since Mr. Vigil worked at the prison. 10 years. I'm really dreadfully sorry about all of this. Yes, it's true. I am Daily Vigil. You were the chief warder at Barclay Prison 10 years ago. So where did Mr. Hugh Boone come from? Boone is the other me. It's a name I invented. Well, evidently there's a great deal under the surface here. I'll explain everything. Tell you just how wretched my life has become. In testimony. Nope. As you say, it was 10 years ago now that my employment at Barclays as Barclays chief warder came to an end. Having left the prison service, I searched for some new occupation by which to earn a wage. But times were hard in London, and I found no suitable engagements at all. In desperation one day, I turned my hand at selling wares on Fresno Street. My wife appears to know nothing of this. She still maintains that you are the chief warder at Barclay Prison. I was utterly determined that my wife should not know of my failings, which is why I've never told her. I opened an account at the bank under the name of Hugh Boone. I rented the cheapest room I could find on Fresno Street. The scene of the very crime we're investigating. Yes, that's right. A place where I could emerge every morning at 8 as a squalid peddler. Transform myself back every evening at 5 to the well-dressed men about town before returning home. It quickly became my daily routine. I was puzzled by the lack of furniture in the room. That explains it. Why on earth didn't you just tell us this in the first place? I have a wife, sir, and 2 sons. Without wishing to sound self-conceited, they regard me with some pride. I couldn't bring myself to disappoint them. So instead you decided to conceal your occupation from them. Yes. Made such a terrible mess of everything. Still, one thing doesn't add up. No matter how many tidbits of information you could sell to passing gentlemen, even at 6 pence apiece, you couldn't hope to match the salary you must have commanded as chief warder at the prison. Very true. You kept your family in comfort despite 10 years of somewhat misbegotten employment. That was all thanks to Inspector Gregson. Inspector Gregson?! Some years after I'd invented Boone and begun my other life as a street seller, he, the inspector that is, recognized me one day. Do you mean to say the victim was an acquaintance of yours? I knew it from my time working at the prison. When he saw what I'd become, he was deeply troubled for me and my family. From that day forward, he visited me on Fresno Street with increasing regularity. Then, one day, he asked me if I would carry out a secret assignment for him. A secret assignment? What was it? I was to impersonate the inspector. What? Impersonate him? But why? We always met in that little room so the inspector could brief me. Visit Orgzies tomorrow and take a statement from the proprietress. There's always something along those lines. Surveillance work, interviewing people. Those occasions. He would lend me his identification so people would believe who I was. My instructions were to make an impression, let people know that Inspector Gregson had been at work. And for those services, he compensated me financially. Scotland Yard investigator willingly relinquished his identification into your care with the intent to deceive? That, as I'm sure I need not point out, is a very serious criminal offense. But why? What was the point of you impersonating him? I truthfully do not know. All I can say is that the inspector warned me on numerous occasions. Now remember, Vigil, I need your solemn word. Don't blab about this to anyone, alright? Ever. Even if I end up a croaker. Gregson, what the hell? In time, he started to bring papers with him to the room as well. It became something of a second office for him. So in fact, the person who declared himself to be Inspector Gregson at the park on Lime Street was really... Yes, it was me, acting on the inspector's orders. As usual, I removed my Boone disguise, then went as instructed to the park, armed with the inspector's identification book. Never occurred to me that the bruise on my neck might give me away. So Gregson was investigating who the real Reaper was. But he got too deep, and the Reaper reaped him. But the Reaper isn't the Reaper. The Reaper is someone else. If that makes sense. I think that was a pretty clear explanation. Well, it would seem this confession completely destroys the defense's case. Huh? Explain yourself now, Prosecutor Asogi. My learned friend's assertion was as follows. The victim was killed at another location on the day before his corpse was discovered. The hands of these two red-headed league men were the prison inspected. But no, that cannot be. After all, it wasn't the inspector who went to the park that day, it was me. Oh goodness. Finally, we have clarity. We had nothing to do with the murder of the inspector. And merci, Monsieur de la Défense, for proving it. What? Arg! Order, order, order! Indeed, it would appear we have reached the de facto conclusion of sorts. These witnesses had no involvement in the murder of the victim. It's proven somewhat ironically by the defense. Hereby call an end to the cross-examination. But...
Hold it!
Oh? Kazuma? Pardon me, my lord. With your permission, I would like to pose one further question to the witness. Kazuma? What question, counsel? It concerns the events of 10 years ago. I believe you would have been present at a very significant execution that was carried out at the time. 10 years ago. Oh! Genshin Asogi! I want to know exactly what your involvement was. Oh! Answer me, man! One moment, counsel. Is this related to the current case? Naturally. It is the prosecution's belief that this case and the events of 10 years ago are inextricably linked. Does the defense concur, counsel? Kazuma, you're not yourself. You're not as calm and collected as usual. Poor Kazuma-san, no wonder he's acting this way. Mr. Vigil's memories of what happened 10 years ago. Tell the tales of Genshin Asogi's last moments, his own father. But it wasn't his last moments. He got shot as he was coming out of the crypt. Prosecutor Asogi, you genuinely believe that this question requires an answer in order to learn the truth behind Inspector Gregson's death. I need you to trust me, please. Very well. The defense has no objections. I see. In that case, you'll answer the question, witness. The truth is, I remember very little of that time. You've forgotten? I'm sorry to say, yes. As I said, I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. For some peculiar reason, my memory of the events leading up to that moment is extremely hazy. Grr. Does that not strike you as strange, Mr. Naruto? Sorry? 10 years is a long time, but to have forgotten the reason why he left such an important job. Yes, you're right. Not only that, Mr. Vigil's claim contradicts what we already know. The human spirit is a fragile thing. It's broken all too easily. Which is why we have a tendency to wrap it up for protection. Sorry? The human spirit? I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean. We experience pain and suffering that we feel unable to bear. We block it out, obliterate it from our memories, seal it away. But it never truly leaves us. The seal is broken and the memories resurface. And when they do, that fragile spirit may finally be crushed. But I really don't. Kazuma-sama. Must be crushed, and so be it. Because the truth will not stay buried. It's coming out one way or another. Right, now I understand. It's clear what his intentions are. He means to expose the truth at any cost. Just like us when we revealed state secrets several times. As I pointed out the contradiction in what Mr. Vigil claimed earlier. It might cause some crucial memories to return to him. But should I? Should I present the evidence or not? Do it! Like hell, we're gonna leave it. Why does the game even give us options at times like these? The court of law, and I have a duty to pursue the truth. Otherwise, Van Zieks would be grumpy with me. Mr. Vigil, I'd like you to look at this. Evidence that contradicts your version of events. Your dismissal notice.
Take that!
Just a few moments ago, you made the following statement. I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. Ah, well, yes. In other words, you claim to have left the post of Chief Warder of your own volition. Well, yes, of course. Why? Tell me. Do you remember seeing this document before? No, I don't. It's a dismissal notice ordering the immediate termination of a prison staff member's employment. A dismissal notice? And the name on the notice is yours, Mr. Vigil. What? What? It's mine? So, you didn't resign from the prison service at all. For some reason, you were dismissed as Chief Warder from Barclay. No, there's been some mistake. I'm sure. Sure, I tendered my resignation. This dismissal notice is nonsense. Isn't it? You're forcibly dismissed. There must have been a good reason. Clearly, you did something. Mr. Vigil, it's time to break the seal and have you remember. According to the few remaining records, the final execution that you supervised was on the 17th of June, 10 years ago. On that day, something very serious took place at Barclay Prison. 17th of June. Was that the professor's execution? Professor. As you were the chief warder at the time, it stands to reason that you would have been present throughout the proceedings. It does sound familiar. And yet, that execution never took place. The convict, ostensibly executed earlier that day, later re-emerged from his grave. The convict came back to life. In the cemetery in the middle of the night, there was a witness. Well, two, but one of them's unidentified. Witness claims that the moment he saw the convict clambering out of his grave, a gunshot rang out from over his shoulder, and the bullet pierced the professor's chest, killing him instantly. Those may have been the professor's actual last moments. Yes! Seeing as you were in charge of overseeing executions at the time, you must know the truth about what really happened. It's in your head, somewhere deep down. Well, Chief Warder Daily Vigil, know there are memories in your head that can explain what happened on the 17th June 10 years ago. Now it's time for you to drag them up. Mr. Vigil? Yes, the whole prison was complete chaos. The prisoner escaped. He was killed in the cemetery. The shocking news ripped through Barclay like a hurricane. What? Order! Do you mean to say, Mr. Vigil, do your memories of that time have returned? My head, it's like some floodgates have been opened. The images, the screams. Oh my goodness. The papers. There were reports, articles about a man who'd seen a ghost. Yes, Anarch Trevor. But surely those reports were exaggerated. There were traces at the scene. Traces of what? Lowgate Cemetery, at a plot number 139. Blood. Lots of blood. That's where the man was buried, of course. Obviously, something terrible had happened there. The depths of conspiracy and depravity from which this tale is emerging are quite staggering. I reviewed the police report documents from police records from that time extensively. A thorough investigation was conducted by Scotland Yard to ascertain how the convict managed to escape in the first place. And the conclusion reached by the investigation team was that a member of the prison staff must have been involved. Are you suggesting prison warden abetted the man's bid for freedom? Yes, and I was suspected of doing it, using that mass murderer's execution as a way to help him escape. You did what? I remember now. The horror of it all is coming back to me. One evening, a few days after the execution, some detectives came to the prison. I was called to the governor's office at the top of the watchtower. I'm sorry, Taylor, this is serious business. I cannot help you now. As chief warden, you're responsible for overseeing the execution of it, eh? Well, it seems the fellas at Scotland Yard want to have a few words with you about it. You better pack your things, laddie. You're to attend in person. Can't put an accent for that guy. As soon as he told me that, my mind just went completely blank. And the next thing I knew, the professor, most hated killer in our country's history. I let him escape. I'm finished. My life. He jumped. Is over. Nice work, Kazuma. We killed a man. Right in the middle of the courtroom. Order. Bailiff, fetch a doctor at once. Kazuma, we did it. Court has adjourned for today, with immediate effect. Not how I was expecting.
So, with Mr. Vigil's collapse, proceedings came to an abrupt end for the day.
Apparently.
Once again overshadowed by the legacy of that notorious killer, appearing like a cursed ghost ship on a foggy ocean.
Ooh.
Lord Van Zieks, Mr. Vigil, Kazuma, and Gregson.
Uh-huh.
All of them bound by invisible chains anchored to the same wreckage in the murky depths of the past. But the miraculous light that had been trying to cut through the gloom and shine on those tragic events was playing on the edges of the truth at last.
Some fancy language for you, Ryunosuke. Hey, we made it to the end of the day of trial. Excellent. This is as far as I was hoping to get today. Thank the Lord it's not just one extremely long trial section until the end of the case. Alright, we will pick up the investigation next time and see what the hell's going to happen next. I assume there's a chance we might find an actual crime scene? A bullet in the wall, perhaps? Maybe some bloody gears? But who knows? Thank you all for coming out and watching. I hope to see you next time where we find more clues about who killed old Gregson. Goodbye.